Hello everyone, welcome again to your channel. Thanks for the click. I hope you are doing well. So today, as you can see, we are going to talk about something related to teaching, and as you can see, we are going to talk about teaching listening. So we have already talked about teaching listening in previous lessons, in previous episode. But today we are going to focus on something very important that has to do with teaching listening as an integrated skill, And when I say integrated skill, which means integrating the listening skills into other lessons like grammar, functions, and vocabulary. So the idea here is that listening skills can be integrated while teaching other functions or other component of language, or it can be taught as an independent, as a separate lesson, like a lesson with its objectives, with its phases and stages, and so on and so forth. Now, this one is very important, and as we are talking about teaching listening because it is one of the forgettable, let's say, lessons, and some teachers exclude it, some teachers don't give it a lot of importance, a lot of attention. Though this actually is one of the most important skills to include, and without listening there is no language learning. This is number one. Number two, while integrating listening skills while teaching these things, the lesson becomes so powerful, so meaningful and solid. So while teaching grammar, so including listening and teaching grammar makes the grammar lesson solid, interesting and meaningful. While teaching functions, using the listening skills, integrating the listening skills makes the lesson powerful, solid, meaningful and also interesting for students. The same thing for vocabulary. This is very important. So integrating listening skills while teaching this component, these lessons, makes the lesson solid, interesting for students and meaningful. Right. Now, a question that might attract your attention: in which phase do you think we can integrate listening while teaching these lessons? For example, is it presentation phase? Is it the practicing phase? Is it the production phase? What phase do you think we can integrate listening while teaching these? Very simply, the appropriate and the best choice to integrate listening skill is in the practicing phase. So integrating listening skills in this phase is very important. Why it is very important? Because it helps students know more about how language is used in real context, in meaningful context, because they will be listening to conversations, real life conversations. Okay, so this is number one. It will also help them develop their pronunciation, also help them learn more about retention, because when they listen to something over and over, it becomes easier for them. They will remember what they learned. Okay, not only this, and most importantly, you will be training your student on listening skills. So that's very important, which means to listen for specific information, to listen for details, to listen for general idea, etc. So through listening, through integrating listening, you are developing your students on this listening. So here, while teaching these lessons, it's up to you to include appropriate tasks for listening. And here, this depends on your student level, depends on your objective, and also depends on the time you have. So this is very important. Now, for example, while teaching grammar, so in the practicing phase, you can have students listen to an audio, for example, and complete sentences with words, with structure they learn, to transform sentences from affirmative to negative. They can also listen and match, for instance, listen and ask and answer with true or false. So it's all up to you to use the appropriate one or ones while teaching this. In function, for example, they might listen and complete sentences, for instance, with the appropriate expressions they listen to listen and match, for example, match sentences with its functions, to answer questions, to say whether it is true or false. So again, it's all up to you to choose the appropriate activity to include here. While vocabulary, again, so in vocabulary, you can have students listen to an audio, for instance, and complete sentences with the words that you taught them, the words that you presented, and complete sentences with the words they listen to. They can also match the words with meaning. They can also answer questions. They can also guess the context, pronunciation, practice, etc. So these are activities and exercises you can and activities that you can use while teaching, while integrating the listening in teaching these lessons. So believe it or not, while integrating the listening activity, the listening skills in teaching these lessons, grammar, functions, vocabulary, the lesson is always interesting, the lesson is always solid, the lesson is always meaningful, and you feel that student learned something. Now, I have a question. Do you think integrating listening can also be in the presentation phase? So, yes or no? This is something that you can tell me in a comment. I hope you learned from this lesson. I hope you find this lesson beneficial. If you have any question or suggestion, don't hesitate to let me know. See you in another episode with another lesson. Have a good time and goodbye.